Hello and welcome to Mojo TV. My name is Johanna Mecca and today I'm being joined with a very special guest, Amanda Collins from ABC's Q&A program. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
We're very honoured to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So now what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about Q&A, a little bit about females in the media, but what I thought to start with is a very obvious question for us and something we're eager to know. How on earth do you control Tony Jones when there is several politicians in a heated argument in the studio, on live television? How does it go? What do you say? What do you do? Do you control him? Or?
We try. We do try. We're not always successful, but yes, we are in Tony's ear. But Tony is a real professional. He's been doing it for a long time and he's actually very, very good. So when things get out of hand, he tends to bring people in. Yes, the role of a producer in the control room normally is to tell the presenter what to do. But Tony doesn't really listen to us. Like often we'll say, "You got to go to that person now," and he's just like, he looks at us and he'll just go to where he wants to go.
Well, I think that makes it what it is as well.
I think so. I think he's a big part of it because he is a perfect mix of a warm, charismatic dinner party host and a very rigorous interrogator.
Yeah.
Tony actually can bring those two together and he's good at bringing a group of people together. So look, we don't have to intervene a lot. He actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure. So has there been an instance where you've thought maybe, okay, I really do need to try and control a situation here, and how would you go about that? You know, through the earpiece of Tony, I know that you said that a lot of the time you don't have to.
Well, we've had a couple of incidents that have been pretty scary.
Yeah, because it's live TV.
It's live TV, and most television is as live. We actually go live. So a lot of live TV is actually recorded 2 or 3 hours before.
Yep.
So we've had one of our panellists faint. And that was one occasion where we could really see that Tony just didn't really know what to do. So that was an example of that. Another time someone threw a shoe at John Howard, the former Prime Minister.
From the audience?
Why are you
or
laughing?
A panel? Not an audience member. Yeah. Wow.
From the audience. And luckily John Howard went like this and the shoe went like that.
Oh, no.
So luckily he didn't get hit.
Yeah.
But I could see Tony there. That was a time where we really needed to communicate with him. And we more or less did. But you know what? Given that we've been going for 8 or 9 years, that's pretty amazing that we have never had an assassination attempt or any more violence. And I honestly think if this show, Q&A, was on in another country, maybe it wouldn't have lasted because there would have been something more dangerous. But I think it's a testament to the strength of our democracy. We're not perfect. As a country, we have a lot of problems, but we've been able to pull off this show with an absolutely live audience for 9 years, which is pretty amazing.
And fantastic questioning and answers.
The questions are often better than anything the journalists ask in Canberra. You know, that audience, often they really, really, because they're often just real people who have real issues, and they've understood with this show they can actually ask the politician on the spot.
That's right, exactly, and get that answer.
And get that answer, and they're not going to get away with it. And Tony's going to come back to them and say, "Well, are you satisfied with that answer?" So the audience drive the show.
Do the panellists know the questions before they come? Okay,
no,
fantastic.
They don't.
Yeah.
There's been this rumour that certain people have propagated that we give the questions out beforehand. We don't. We never have. No panellist in the history of Q&A receives questions. What we give them is topics. So at the end on the Friday before the Monday, each of the panellists gets an email and we say to them, look, we know from talking to our audience and what's on the news, what's in the news agenda, that this and this are going to come up. So we give them about 5 or 6 topics and we say to them, have a think about them over the weekend, read up about them.
Yeah, so they're somewhat prepared.
They've got an idea of the territory that we're going to traverse in that discussion. But no, we never give them the question. So please tell your friends
I will tell our friends. Mojo TV, guys.
Yeah,
no.
We never give them the questions.
No, definitely. So other than speaking to Tony through his earpiece, what else does your job as series producer involve at Q&A?
Well, my job is very much to look at the overall year. So I'm also looking at the specials, what sorts of specials we need to bring into it in terms of, are we going to do science? Are we going to do an all women? Are we going to do an all Indigenous? I get most of the non-politician talent for the panels. So I have a producer that I work very closely with. Lindsay Olney is the political producer. He's an old Canberra journalist, so he knows the politicians very well. So he gets the pollies. So all the other people you see who aren't politicians tend to be people that I've thought of and contacted and want to have on the program. I also am part of the 4-person editorial team, which is Tony, myself, the executive producer, Peter McAvoy, and Lindsay.
Fantastic.
So we talk about what's important to bring out in the show. We discuss which panellists will be right. We sit down and look at the questions.
Yep.
At the beginning of each Monday, there's hundreds come in from the audience.
I can imagine, yeah.
So we go through the questions and we try and work out a shape for the program. So it's a fascinating job because it's I am very involved in the editorial, in the selection of panellists, and in shaping the whole season each year, which is wonderful. It's a great job.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine. And in terms of the questions, so you've got your audience members' questions, but obviously the Twitter feed every Monday night is trending Q&A always.
Yeah.
So how do you go through those Twitter posts and use those questions to ask Tony and the panel?
That is massively difficult. So when we realised how popular we were on Twitter on the night, we thought, how on earth are we going to go through 10,000? It's often between 10 and 20,000 tweets an hour. How are we going to go through and choose the best? So we've had to employ software. We've had to buy in software. So we have a program, a computer program that was designed by a Melbourne guy actually, that sort of helps us just dip in and dig out big tweets that we think, a big number of tweets that we think could be worthwhile.
Potential, yep.
It also gets rid of a lot of swearing, obscenities, profanities. So it's programmed to get rid of,
Fantastic.
I won't say them now, but you know those words. So that helps as well. We can also program into it, we don't want these fake Twitter handles.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to control, isn't it?
Once we're onto people who are using fake handles, we can... So that program really helps. Plus, we have a team of moderators. So we have 2 or 3 people who are kind of just getting out the ones they can, and then they're sending them through to the final 2 Twitter moderators who are choosing the actual tweets that will go to air and checking the handles.
So 8 years ago when you started at Q&A, were those positions there for the social media people? They were?
Oh no, Twitter didn't start until we didn't start using Twitter until about 2 or 3 years in. Yeah.
Fantastic. So those roles are somewhat new and...
The Twitter moderation, they are. And that's an example of how the industry is changing and moving in a really good way. Yeah. So we now have our interactivity producer, Ainsley Hunter, has a fantastic job because she is right across. She's tweeting all week.
Wow.
For Q&A. She's also across all our Facebook. She's also doing Snappy TV. So during
Fantastic.
the broadcast, she's actually quickly editing big bits of video which are going out live on Twitter, which mean that we get a lot more media coverage. So yes, that's actually a really good question. Q&A has got a lot of new jobs attached to it because we've adapted, I guess, to the changing media landscape.
Of course. And in terms of your career, how did your career begin and how did you end up at Q&A?
I always wanted to tell stories, so I thought I'd always be a writer or a journalist. I started in radio because I really loved music, so I started at the music rock and roll stations.
Fantastic.
The first one was 4ZZZ in Brisbane, and then Triple J in Sydney. And then when I finally outgrew rock and roll journalism, I went to Spain and I worked for 3 years as a foreign correspondent. And I learned Spanish and I worked for the BBC and Deutsche Welle.
Fantastic.
So when I came back, even though I had spent 7 years already at the ABC, I thought I'd go to SBS Television because I was fluent in Spanish. And that was a wonderful experience and they were very family friendly. I had 3 babies while I was working there.
Oh, fantastic.
And now I've been back at the ABC for 8 years doing Q&A. So yeah, it's been a really great career.
Yeah.
And I've been able to combine it with children. So I'd say that to women. You can do both. Yeah. You can definitely do both.
Well, on the subject of women and women in Q&A, how were the panellists chosen each week in terms of males, females, politicians, people that aren't politicians? How do you dictate who is on the panel each Monday night?
Well, that has been a very contentious issue and not many women are cabinet ministers, not many women have senior positions, only a third of parliament is women. So that straight away is a real hurdle for us. However, we decided as a team that we would do something about it and I suggested that we needed to have a target. I knew that quota, that word was going to be really unpopular, so we decided to call it a target and the whole team was really supported and we decided that we would go for it. So we really are groundbreaking in that we have set ourselves a target that over the year we will have 50% men and women on the panel. It's been really hard and it continues to be really hard, but we're determined to do it. And last year we just got there.
Fantastic.
So we don't do it every week. Sometimes you'll see more men than women. Often you'll see more women than men. Sometimes we have all women panel to get there. But we are determined that we will continue to do that. And I think people in the media need to do that. And the more that women come onto the show, the more they've started to think, oh, yeah, no, that is a space for me. Because I think women, potential panellists, were looking at it and thinking, no, that's really sort of a bloke fest. I don't want to be part of that. So slowly we're changing, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud that we've done that.
Yeah, you should be proud. So do you think that's why they are reluctant to be on the show? Like the females, that it is a hard task for you trying to
There are a few
source
reasons, yeah. They are reluctant because often they're not involved in the outside world, in the areas of politics or science or engineering. Secondly, I think a lot of women just don't push themselves forward as much as men do. I find that really interesting. I'll often get, in the course of a day, a lot of phone calls and emails from men saying, when am I on the show?
Yeah.
I'm very clever. When will I be on Q&A? And some of them are, and some of them aren't very clever. And then there are lots of very clever women that I would love to have on the show who don't want to come on. They think they're going to be terrible, which is just not true. So there's that. And then there's the third factor, which is really distressing, is that a lot of women get victimised on Twitter. They get trolled and they get sexually harassed and they get threatened with violence. And that puts off some women. I know a few women who would love to come on, but already they're experiencing a lot of sexual harassment online, and that makes me really sad, and we really need to do something about that as a society. And actually Twitter need to do something about it, because it's opened up a space where cowards and misogynists and nasty males are able to attack women, and that's one of the reasons women sometimes do not want to be on our show. So that needs to change.
Well, I think it's fantastic that you've even reached, that is a goal, and you've had that and you've reached it in 2016. So how is 2017 looking so far?
Well, next week is looking terrible because I only have 3 men and no women. So it's hard. It is really hard, and I think that says something in itself, that it's so hard. But I'm hoping that we'll get there. We're just sort of, we're not quite there at the moment, but we are determined that by the end of the year we will be.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a work in progress.
Now, last question. Is there any advice that you have for aspiring female journalists or politicians?
I would just say get in there and be part of the space. I mean, often women do speak in a slightly different way. Often women are more collaborative. Often women aren't as competitive, and so that often women think, oh, I don't want to be in the media. But the more of us who are in there, it changes it. And, there are lots of fantastic men in the media as well, and they love working with women. So my advice is to get into the space and to know that it is possible to combine with having children. It really is one of those professions that can be quite a degree of flexibility. So
you're living proof, aren't you?
Yeah, I would never say to women, don't have, please have children. It really is the best job.
Yeah.
And then after that, journalism is a wonderful job. So, we've talked tonight about the changing landscape of media. But I think for young people, for young women who are used to social media, who are good on their devices, there are going to be new jobs that you are going to be able to do really easily and really well.
Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Amanda. It has been an absolute privilege. And for everybody else, please tune in to Mojo TV over the coming days to see some great packages being posted from some of our young, talented reporters.